This set of slides looks at how behavioral finance has affected analyst forecasts. Studies have shown that experts in many fields persistently make forecasting errors arising from their behavioral biases. When qualified, analysts possess a range of techniques to research companies and securities, yet their superior skills surprisingly place them at greater risk of some types of error. Even possessing good analytical skills, investment professionals' judgment can be limited by human failings and the environment in which they operate. Many studies show that there is overconfidence in forecasting skills. Forecasts with a 90% confidence interval have been found to be incorrect up to 40% of the time. This has been linked to the illusion of knowledge bias. People generally do a poor job of estimating probabilities, but believe they do it well because they believe they are smarter and more informed than they actually are. This is referred to as the illusion of knowledge bias. Overconfidence may be intensified when combined with self-attribution bias. Self-attribution bias is where people take credit for successes and assign responsibility for failures, or they blame others. A key bias linked to overconfidence is the illusion of knowledge. Analysts believe that by acquiring information, they can know more than others and obtain an edge. As a result, they collect too much information. And that additional information may not improve the forecast. The availability bias needs to be guarded against, and complex models have a good fit to historical sample, but may not produce robust forecasts. And robust forecast means that they work out of the sample that was tested. There's definitely overconfidence in forecasting skills, which, as I mentioned, may be because of self-attribution bias, which is where they take credit for successes, but blame external factors for failures, and that can also contribute to overconfidence. And hindsight bias is the I knew it all along syndrome. So forecasts are evaluated with hindsight, and that additional knowledge can be attained combined with a human tendency to see past events as having been predictable. Also, people tend to remember their own predictions of the future as more accurate than they actually are, because they are biased by the knowledge of what actually happened. The remedial action for overconfidence and related biases is, dealing with overconfidence is difficult, but prompt and accurate feedback combined with a structure that rewards accuracy can help analysts to reevaluate their processes and self-calibrate. Most people calibrate better and reduce overconfidence if they know that the results of their forecasts will be known and reflected to them quickly. Other actions are that regular appraisals by supervisors and analysts should document each decision or forecast and the reasons for judgment for later evaluation. Analysts do have to be careful of and cautious of information presented by company management. Analysts should remember that the company management is also susceptible to behavioral biases. For example, a management presentation describing specific successes or selecting favorable comparisons for business performance could anchor an analyst's view of the business results as successful. Subsequent less favorable metrics or explanations might not be given the appropriate consideration or weight. Typically, annual reports begin with a summary of results and achievements. Analysts should recognize the risk of this information being given undue importance. Research of a bank's annual report a few months just before the bank became insolvent and had to be bailed out by the government showed a very high number of positive words in that report. So analysts do have to be careful of how companies frame the information that they release to the public. Remedial actions could be that analysts should maintain a consistent, disciplined, and systematic approach, and they should test the company's assertions. Analysts are swamped by data. An important skill is judging the relevance or importance of information to the analysis at hand. There can be biases in conducting research. The confirmation bias is where it's easy to interpret the relevance of new data in light of your existing view in a company. So you're confirming your own views of that company that you already had. You may associate financially sound companies as companies likely to make financially sound investments, ignoring external environment or high stock price. And studies suggest that analysts have biases towards growth stocks over value stocks. Earnings growth records often are naively extrapolated. So remedial actions overall include using consistent data, evaluating previous forecasts, taking a systematic and structured approach, assigning probabilities, seeking contrary facts and opinions, incorporating evidence sequentially, having prompt feedback, and documenting the process. And these are important steps, especially documenting each decision or forecast and the reasons for the judgment for later evaluation. And managers should give prompt, accurate feedback to analysts with rewards for accuracy.